Do you believe that your life can be completely transformed in just 3 minutes in the morning? I assure you, yes, it is possible. It may sound incredible, but the truth is that your destiny is not determined by great events, but by the small seeds you plant immediately upon waking. Many people spend their entire lives believing that success comes only from hard work or luck. But I will show you that the right prayer, offered at the right time, can move invisible forces and completely change the course of your story. When you open your eyes in the morning, you are not simply waking up to another day. You are facing the most powerful and often neglected moment of your life. At this moment, your mind is open like fertile soil, ready to receive the first seeds of the day. What you plant in the first minutes after waking becomes roots that either support or undermine your destiny. Most people waste this sacred moment. They open their eyes, and the first thing they do is complain, relive yesterday's problems, think about overdue bills, or worry about things that haven't even arrived yet. Perhaps this has happened to you as well. How many times have you woken up under the weight of fear, anxiety, or insecurity? How often has your first thought been of defeat even before your feet touch the ground? Do you realize that these first moments are not neutral? They program your mind, and consequently your actions. And your actions, repeated day after day, become the bricks that build your future. When you wake up and feed your mind with words of doubt, you are literally sowing failure in the most fertile soil of your soul. That is why so many people live their lives repeating the same patterns. Same days, same problems, same results. They wake up already trapped in an invisible cycle of self-sabotage. But there is a key that can break this cycle. A key so simple that most people ignore it, yet so powerful that it can open doors where there were only walls yesterday. This key is the prayer offered in the very first conscious breath of the day. Not a mechanical, lifeless prayer, but a declaration of power, faith, and alignment with God. When you wake up and, before touching your phone, take a deep breath and say, "Today I walk with God. Today nothing separates me from the purpose He prepared for me. Today I receive the right ideas, the right opportunities, and the right people." Something extraordinary happens. You are not just speaking words. You are issuing a spiritual and mental command, activating a trigger that aligns your mind and spirit with the Creator. It is like tuning a radio to the correct station. When you find the right frequency, the music flows without interference. If you are off tune, all you hear is noise. Your morning prayer is the button that adjusts the frequency of your life. Now imagine, what would your day be like if, instead of starting with complaints, you began by declaring victory? What would your week be like if, every morning upon waking, you affirmed with conviction that God is already moving everything in your favor? Recent studies show that people who start their day with positive affirmations and spiritual practices like gratitude and faith drastically reduce anxiety levels and increase mental clarity by up to 30% throughout the day. This is not coincidence. It is science confirming what spiritual wisdom has always known. What you think and declare in the first minutes after waking shapes your perception of everything that follows. Perhaps you are thinking, can something so simple really change my life? I answer, try it. Try it for 7 days. When you wake up, before any distractions, take 3 deep breaths. In the first breath, release the weight of yesterday. In the second, let go of all fear. In the third, feel the presence of God filling you with clarity and strength. Then declare words of life. Do it as if planting seeds that will inevitably bloom. You will notice doors beginning to open, not because the world suddenly changed, but because you changed the way you see it and the way you position yourself within it. I know that most people live on autopilot, repeating negative thoughts every morning. But if you decide to reverse this pattern, you will begin to experience something that seems supernatural. Situations that once seemed like obstacles become opportunities. The right people begin to cross your path. Ideas appear in your mind, as if from a source beyond your understanding. This is not chance. It is the result of the harmony you create by planting the right seeds in the soul of your mind. Remember, each morning, you hold the key that opens or closes the paths of your destiny. What you choose to declare in the first moments of the day can make the difference between repeating the life you already know or beginning to build the life you have always desired. There was a time in my life when I had absolutely nothing. I was merely a young reporter, full of doubts, insecure, afraid I could not even sustain myself. What I felt most during that period was the uncertainty of the future. And it was precisely during this time that I received the opportunity to interview Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest and most influential men in the world. Can you imagine the weight of that encounter for a young man with no resources, no name, and no experience? I could have let fear paralyze me. I could have invented excuses not to go. But that morning, before leaving the house, I closed my eyes and said a simple prayer. God, open the right door for me. I did not know what would happen, but in that moment, I entrusted my path to a greater power. And do you know what happened? That interview changed the course of my life. It became the starting point of a mission that would guide me for the rest of my life, to study, to understand, and sharing the principles of success means understanding that nothing happens by chance, but everything is a matter of alignment. It is proof that doors that once seemed unreachable open before us when we connect with the divine and align our actions with what we ask for. How many times have you felt that you didn't have enough strength, that you lacked connections, or that you didn't have the necessary resources to achieve something greater? How many times has the fear of failure stopped you before you even tried? We have all experienced this. But the difference between those who remain paralyzed and those who move forward lies in the decision to take a step, even when the entire path is not visible. Here is a truth that many do not understand. God does not bless inertia. He blesses the movement of those who believe. Imagine standing before a locked door. Prayer is the key that places you in front of it, but it is your action that turns the handle. If you ask for prosperity, you must work as if you are already managing wealth. If you ask for clarity, you must walk as if you already have direction. If you ask for healing, you must act as if you are already being restored. This posture does not deceive God, but it convinces your mind. And a convinced mind is capable of moving mountains. Think of people who have changed the world. Many of them started with nothing, yet they carried a conviction within them stronger than the circumstances. For example, Steve Jobs did not build Apple merely because he knew technology. He had a vision and the certainty that he already had something valuable to offer, even while working in his parents' garage. This faith applied and action attracted opportunities, and people who would otherwise never have crossed his path. On the other hand, there are those who had all the material conditions and still failed because they never knew how to align faith, vision, and action. Now reflect. How many opportunities have passed before you and were not taken because fear spoke louder? How many times have you prayed for change but continued acting as if nothing had been given to you? Prayer that opens paths is not just a request. It is a call for you to move as if you have already received. And when you do this, something extraordinary happens. You begin to see possibilities where you once saw barriers. The right people appear at unexpected moments. Ideas that had been dormant in your mind begin to flourish. I want to challenge you. Tomorrow, when you say your morning prayer, choose a single action, even if small, that aligns with what you asked for. If you asked for prosperity, send that proposal you have been holding for weeks. If you asked for reconciliation, take the first step with humility. If you asked for new opportunities, sign up for that course, make that call, or seek that information you have been postponing. God does not bless inertia. He honors the movement of those who believe. And remember, this movement does not need to be grand. Often, a simple gesture triggers a chain of transformative events. This is exactly how my journey began, with a simple prayer before an interview. At that moment, I had no idea where it would lead, but the step I took in faith became the seed of the work I built throughout my life. Had I remained paralyzed, nothing would have happened. But because I aligned myself with God and took a step even in the dark, enormous doors opened. This is the difference between merely asking and living as if you have already received. I know that one of the greatest pains of being human is feeling that your prayers are not answered. How many times have you asked for something in faith, and throughout the day, nothing seemed to change? How many times have you said to yourself, "Did God hear me? Am I alone in this struggle?" This is a common feeling, and I want you to know that you are not the only one who experiences this doubt. I myself, at many points in my journey, faced periods of apparent silence. And it was during those times that I learned one of the hardest and most liberating lessons of my life. True faith is not measured in the instant you ask, but in the persistence with which you hold on to what you asked for, even when nothing seems to happen. It is easy to believe for 5 minutes. It is easy to repeat beautiful words right after morning prayer. Difficult is to continue believing when problems knock at the door, when bills arrive, when pain insists on staying. But it is at this point that superficial faith separates from transformative faith. Today, science proves this as well. Studies conducted at Harvard have shown that people who maintain consistent thoughts of trust and hope, even in adversity, increase not only their emotional resilience, but also their performance capacity by up to 31%. In other words, the persistence of faith is not just a spiritual concept. It is a mental strategy that reprograms your mind and strengthens your ability to act. I have learned that faith is not tested on days of ease, but on days when nothing seems to move. This was also true for Thomas Edison, who failed more than 1,000 times before his invention illuminated the world. He could have given up on attempt number 100 or on number 250, but he persisted. And why? Because within him was an unshakable conviction that it was possible. This conviction is the purest form of applied faith, continuing even when external reality insists on saying otherwise. Now I ask you, how many times have you given up on your dreams because you did not see immediate results? How many times have you abandoned a project because it seemed too difficult? It is at this moment that you need an anchor, a simple phrase that keeps your mind on the right frequency. When fear comes, say, "I have already delivered it to God, and He is acting." Say it with firmness, not as an empty mantra, but as a command said directly to your subconscious and to heaven. Because each time you declare this, you cut at the root the doubt that tries to steal your faith. What you planted in the morning is the foundation that protects you from the fluctuations of your mind. It is important that you understand, when you pray and believe, you set into motion forces that operate beyond your sight. Just because you cannot see them does not mean nothing is happening. Imagine a farmer planting a seed. In the first few days, he sees nothing above the soil, yet he knows that life is already moving beneath the surface. Similarly, every prayer offered with faith is a seed that has already begun to sprout. Whether it will bloom depends on your persistence and continued nurturing, even when the soil appears dry. The biggest mistake most people make is that they pray in the morning and then spend the rest of the day canceling what they asked for with fearful thoughts, words of lack, and actions of giving up. Then they say that God did not respond. The truth, however, is that they themselves changed their mental season in the middle of the day. They began on the frequency of faith, but returned to the frequency of doubt. The inevitable result is frustration. Yet, when you hold onto your prayer and quietly repeat that you have already entrusted it to God and that He is already acting, you not only keep your faith alive, but you also send a clear command to your subconscious to act in alignment with what you have declared. The next time anxiety strikes, or the next time you feel like giving up, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say, "I have already given it to God, and He is in control." Repeat this as many times as needed until you feel peace return to your heart. This simple practice becomes a powerful discipline, capable of turning every challenge into a sign of strength rather than a reason to give up. Believe me, the world is watching, God is watching, and your own mind is watching. Do you truly believe in what you asked for, or were they just empty words? Persisting is the ultimate proof of faith. And when you sustain this flame, even when everything seems against you, the universe begins to reorganize in your favor, bringing the answer at the perfect time. To truly cultivate an unshakable mind, it is essential to understand that obstacles do not exist to paralyze you, but to test your determination and strengthen your character. Every challenge that seems insurmountable carries within it a hidden lesson, a fragment of wisdom that, when absorbed, increases your capacity to endure, adapt, and grow. When you face difficulties without succumbing, you develop a type of mental resilience that becomes second nature. It is not merely about enduring. It is about learning to transform pressure into fuel for your personal growth. Think of your mind as a muscle. The more you train it to remain steady amid adversity, the stronger it becomes. The key is not to avoid negative thoughts or challenging circumstances, but to train your mind to stay focused and productive even when everything around you seems to collapse. Every time you refuse to give in to fear, doubt, or frustration, you reinforce a pattern of resilience that manifests in every area of your life. This pattern creates a mental state in which nothing external has the power to dictate how you feel or respond. And this is the true essence of an unshakable mind. It is also vital to recognize the power of the words you speak to yourself. Phrases like, "I cannot," or "This is impossible," are traps that undermine your inner strength. Replacing these thoughts with affirmations of confidence, even small ones at first, changes the chemistry of your brain, creating neural pathways that promote resilience and self-confidence. Napoleon Hill teaches that the human mind is profoundly influenced by the beliefs we choose to nurture. Therefore, every optimistic thought, every visualization of success, every silent decision to persist is shaping a reality in which you become invulnerable to external disturbances. Another crucial point is the awareness that adversity is neither random nor unjust. It reflects the opportunity you have to grow. People with unshakable minds do not merely accept obstacles. They anticipate them and use them strategically. They do not allow themselves to become victims of circumstances because they understand that true control lies in how they respond. Every problem can be a springboard, every failure a lesson, every criticism an opportunity to refine skills. A strong mind learns to recognize patterns, assess risks, and make decisions with clarity even under intense pressure. Ultimately, perseverance is the foundation that sustains this mental strength. The difference between those who achieve their goals and those who give up at the first sign of difficulty is not luck or talent, but the ability to continue moving forward, step by step, keeping the mind focused and the spirit strong. Persisting even when no one is watching, maintaining inner discipline even when external motivation fails, is what transforms an ordinary mind into an unshakable one. Napoleon Hill reminds us that true strength is not measured by easy moments, but by the firmness with which you stand amid life's inevitable chaos. This is the journey of those who wish to master their minds, to understand, accept, and use every experience, every obstacle, every pressure as a step that elevates your strength, focus, and inner freedom, making it impossible for any external circumstance to shake your determination. The true difference of a mind prepared to succeed lies in how it channels its energy and organizes its thoughts to produce tangible results. It is not enough to simply believe that something is possible. That belief must be translated into disciplined and consistent action. A mind that understands its own power does not get lost in aimless daydreaming, but sets clear goals and nourishes them daily in this process of growth, helping you become 1% better than you are now. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.